Good evening, everybody. It is Steve with Real Progressives, and tonight we're going to talk about the problem with politics. And the subject matter comes up because I realize, quite frankly, that just about every problem we face is framed in political discourse. It's framed in politics. And because we are a society of many different peoples, many different backgrounds, many different needs, many different perspectives, many different bedtime stories that people were told when they were born. First things first, let me say hello to some of the people. I haven't really been taking time to do that and give everybody a chance. I want to say hi and acknowledge everyone and thank you. Patricia, Tori, Emil, et al. But really what I want to make sure we address is the clear distinction between politics and the pursuit of truth, and why this matters so much right now of all times. One of the big things that we have to be honest about here, and as somebody who is desperately seeking a third-party solution, really, quite frankly, to break up the duopoly so that we can have a governing structure that allows us to have more than just two voices basically represented. It's a daunting task. It is a tremendously daunting task. One at which the Green Party has learned in spades how difficult it is to build a third party, and the appeal of the Green Party is the fact that they have in fact been working to build the infrastructure, the necessary support structure to put it into orbit, if you will, to allow it to take root. I like a lot of things about the Green Party, and this is not really going to be about the Green Party at all. But this is going to be about the problem of politics, right? So as we sit here, we want a lot of things. There's a lot of things we really, really want. And politics is a game of attrition. And I didn't realize exactly how badly attrition was tightly associated with our success or failure in everything that we do. And as you look, today there was an interview on Al Jazeera where Bernie Sanders was asked point blank about the Draft Bernie movement and talked about how Cornel West had joined up with them, etc. And Bernie, as always, couched his answer. He basically said, hey, look, I'm in it to reform the Democratic Party. Will I be successful? I might not be successful. But I'm going to try because it's super easy to start a third party. It's really, really hard to build the infrastructure and all the necessary components that it takes to make that party actually be able to produce fruit. Now, this is his take on it. I agree with his take in the sense that it is very difficult. I do not agree with his sense that we should not try. But therein which lies the issue of politics, right? In a first past the post environment where you don't have a parliamentary structure to deal with, where 5% gets you absolutely nothing but a pat on the back and maybe some funding for the next election. In a parliamentary system, 5% would have equaled seats in parliament. So we have a fundamental issue where the two parties that control writing laws that are actually the ones that are in power have put the icy chill against any third party entering into the debate stage. They put the chill on anyone going and actually running for office. They have put the chill on a lot of things. So as people fighting for a third party, let me explain to you what you actually have to come to grips with. What you have to come to grips with is that unless somehow or another we're able to create critical mass, we have to accept that we're not going to win many seats until we build that mass. And that means that we have to accept that we have to fight two wars. One is trying to build our movement on the outside of the duopoly, and the other one is holding the feet to the fire of the people inside the duopoly. And I want to tell you right now, I see an awful lot of third-party people that don't want to hear anything about what's going on inside the duopoly. They don't want to hear anything about what's going on in Congress. They don't want to hear anything about what's going on, period. They just want to focus on their third party. And I understand and appreciate why, because all the energy, all the focus to pull people into this requires an awful lot of work. It requires an incredible amount of focus, and it requires an awful lot of benevolence and willingness to suffer through the early times for the people that are part of it. But what have we noticed about the American people? Well, hell, what have we noticed about people in general? People are not patient. People lack patience. And they lack the ability to suffer, willingly suffer, to make these things happen. And so it's up to us. If this is what we want, now you've got to ask yourself point blank. This is a tough come to Jesus moment. You've got to ask yourself literally, are you willing to sacrifice? Are you willing to sacrifice to build a party outside the duopoly? Are you willing to fight for things that seem a little bit off, that aren't quite what you'd like it to be? Maybe something that seems like a multifaceted strategy, like draft Bernie on one hand, Progressive Independent Party on the other hand, Green Party on the other hand. Are you willing to see it through multiple lenses? Or are you only like, I can only do this, I can only do this? And if you can't see that you have to have a multifaceted approach, you're going to have to accept an awful lot of pain and suffering that has nothing to do with progress. Because quite frankly, it's going to require something like the Draft Bernie movement to pull the vote blues out of the Democratic Party. It's going to require something like the Progressive Independent Party to build a coalition for all the special snowflakes on the left so that they have a coalition to form under. And it's going to take something like the Green Party, a true left party that's out there, that's got the structure to help provide a landing point for everyone. But if you're like, well, why are you fighting for Draft Bernie? And why are you fighting for Progressive Independent? And why are you, you know what? Seriously, at some point in time, the people that don't get it are going to have to just accept that there's people that know more than them and are fighting for multi-things. They're fighting to try and win the war. You can have this band of hardy activists at 1%, and all you've got is a band of hardy activists at 1%. They can wear skinny jeans, they can wear their Chuck Taylor retros, and they can walk around and they can feel edgy. Or we can continue to do a multifaceted approach to try and actually win so we can govern, right? That's the point of this is, right? To actually govern. So we have to look at this, in my opinion, multiple ways. Because our enemy is entrenched. Our enemy has all the power in terms of structural power. And our power is in our unity, in our masses, in our numbers, and in our willingness to fight to take that down. They're not going to do it willingly, folks. They're not. It is going to take something like a Bernie Sanders leaving the Democratic Party, leaving them and waving goodbye, and pulling the people that are not really gregarious activists, they're a little bit afraid, that are a little bit vote bluish, to pull them out of the party. Because unless you just want to be this band of 1 to 5% hardy activists, lots and lots of hardiness. You're going to need to have those people. That's what it takes, sadly, to win a ruling majority. Has anybody ever thought of that? Have you ever noticed how people act like, well, we got the best ideas and why aren't we this? Have you ever noticed that? And it's like, it shouldn't be like difficult. It's no more difficult than MMT to understand. The reality is, it's very simple. There's a lot of people that just they don't get it. They're scared. They're scared. They only see one way. They're not willing to suffer through this. And I'll be perfectly honest with you. Folks like me who are really, really suffering with physical ailments and financial woes and so forth, it's really, really hard to be able to see that. So you've got to devise a strategy that speaks to people where they are. And, this is the challenge, right? Politics is a son of a bitch. And it's all about attrition. People start falling away because they get bored. Anybody remember back when Bernie was running? Facebook was alive, man. I mean, freaking millions and millions and millions of freaking reach on the Real Progressives page. I mean, we were hitting 30 million people a month. And now you get your 4 million, right? Now you get your 4 and 5 million. And really, quite frankly, I think that it's like telling people fade away. People just lose their zeal, lose their passion, lose their belief, lose their faith, lose their willingness to fight. And to ignore that is to basically self-sabotage your movement. It is a war of attrition. That's exactly right. So I don't know what will end up being, but I do know that if we don't stay committed today, that when the next wave comes and the next band of, sort of active activists kicks back in, the easily distractivists, okay, when the easily distractivists come back to politics again, we've got to be there with something to catch them, to pull them forward. The easily distractivists are a huge number of people. Huge number of people. I started going through my head thinking about all the different people that I remember that I used to see the mass postings. I'm sure a lot of them were sock accounts that got clipped and knocked out. But a lot of them weren't. A lot of them were people that I actually met in person. And they just got lukewarm. They just got tired and they just stopped fighting. And hipster activists, yeah. I call them distractivists. They get sucked into the Kardashians again or whatever it is they do with their time when they're not actually actively fighting and conveying information. So this makes up the large majority of people. When I got a lot of pushback from some of my green friends that were like, why are you supporting Draft Bernie? And I'm like, because you're already here. What do you want me to do? Scratch your back? Give you a massage? Tell you how great you are for being out of the duopoly? No, that's not where the work is, fool. The foolish work, the tough work, the hard work is pulling these turd burglars out of the party. Pulling them out, kicking and screaming. But you got to pull them out. And then you got to keep them out because you have something there for them to land on. Trendy activists. There you go. There's another one. I like distractivists because they get distracted easily. They get distracted. So as far as politics goes right now, right? I mean, we got some real things. Like here there's this like stack of real shit going on. And then you got this stack of distractivist shit going on. And the real shit that's going on, so we're on the same page, is that we need to really be pressing the issue to teach each other things. That we need to be ready. Bernie Sanders, for all the people that don't want to hear about this stuff, I'm sorry. But I can't allow your ignorance to not want to hear about this affect my delivery of these things because they're very critical to learn from. And I'm not going to say, well, he sold out, he did this, he did that. That's not really, if you can say that in the mirror. If you don't, if you want to say that kind of shit in the mirror and knock yourself out, maybe put a little beret on and like paint like a dastardly mustache so you feel edgy and hipstery. But what I'm trying to do here is recognize the timing of Bernie's campaign and recognizing what happened in the time frames that it happened and watch the trajectory of how the growth of people buying into the plan happened, okay? And one of the things is, if you remember when Bernie first announced, he was in front of a band of maybe 10 people. I think there was this one thing where most of the people there were at the picnic area just for the picnic. They had nothing to do with Bernie, and they were passing by eating their hot dog going, I think that's Bernie Sanders over there. Yeah, they weren't actually there for anything. You know, it was kind of funny, right? And then all of a sudden you look at the Sacramento speech, and the friggin' crowd there looked like a friggin', like something out of like the Bible, man. It was like the friggin' parting of the Red Seas. It's just amazing looking at that many people. And you know, unfortunately, Bernie waited too long. And for all the, you know, God, I love you, conspiracies and the things that are true, the things that aren't true, the bullshit you've told yourself to make you feel like an edgy hipster, whatever, right? All that good stuff. The fact is that Bernie waited too long. He waited too long to uncork a lot of the things that he had uncorked. And so he's trying to bring the most massive sweeping legislation onto a platform since really the New Deal. And people just had, you know, we've been sucker punched for so long that the idea of anybody talking New Deal politics, that was really difficult. That was hard for people. They liked it, but they just had no belief that it could even possibly come true. And then slowly but surely, as this campaign went on, people started really believing it could come true. Well, I'm here to tell you that I haven't stopped the Bernie platform. Okay? I have not stopped 1 minute. I have not allowed myself to get distracted by Donald Trump. I have not allowed myself to get distracted by all the other bullshit. I have stayed focused on the platform because it's that Green New Deal, that combination of Bernie Sanders' platform and Jill's platform that progressives can rally around. And if we keep the momentum of that, forget the people. It's irrelevant who is the torchbearer. It's only relevant that we don't give on these key platform areas. And if we can continue that momentum, that education, to help people understand that this is all completely achievable, that it only requires a willing public and willing politicians to put the needs of the people before the needs of corporations and the needs of lobbyists. If we can build critical mass to take that platform all the way instead of getting distracted, and becoming distractivists, instead of getting caught up once again in identity politics, instead of getting caught up in all these little conspiracies and other bullshit diversions, folks, we just might be able to pull this off with or without a Bernie Sanders, with or without a third party, a Green Party, because the bottom line, remember, as people fighting outside the duopoly, as people fighting to bring about a third party, you would have to be a literal fool not to realize that it's going to take time and effort. So we've got to impact legislation by those people in a position to write the fucking legislation. And I promised I wasn't going to drop an F-bomb in there. I did it. I'm sorry, folks. I've been on tear lately, haven't I? In any event, the idea here is it's very important that each one of us teach one of us. Each one teach one. And it all comes back to the economic message. None of Bernie's platform was possible without the wonderful economists that put it together. They were just ideas. One of the key problems I have with the Green Party is they have this great set of ideas, but their economists are the worst in the world. They're horrific. So we have a chance of infiltrating the Green Party and making them wake up and stop the myths, legends, and conspiracies. Horrible myths, legends, and conspiracies. It's really kind of shameful, actually. So my goal is we want to definitely affect the Green Party. We need to make them see truth. That's lesson number one, because they are in play. They have the power to make some changes. But they've got a bunch of people over there in their Birkenstocks and stuff that are over there talking really, really stupid economics. We have a chance to infiltrate and fix that problem. The flip side is with the Draft Bernie and the PIP movement. We have a chance to build a coalition party for those people that really, truly can't get their mind around ever joining with the Greens for whatever reason. Okay? It's not my job to carry the water for a party. My job is to carry the issues. And if you want to be badass enough to carry the issues with me, I'll take your help. I'll take your help. I won't push it away. But I'm not going to carry the weight of your party either. And I'm not going to carry your rules and regulations for your party. And I'm not going to carry your friggin' relationships you have with Zarlenga and AMI and all the other nonsense. Truth matters. I can't side up with lunacy, okay? But I will sign up for absolutely taking this agenda and making it mainstream, making it so that everyone already knows this stuff. So when the time comes and someone comes up there and they've elected or they've propped up their next puppet and they say, well, we can go ahead and have some college free for poor people, it will cut it off at 126,000. We all know we can say that's bullshit. You could do it for everyone, make it a citizen's benefit. But if we sit there, and I swear on my life, if we sit here and we fall back to sleep on economic issues, you can guarantee, 1,000% guarantee, that wherever this lies, whether it be the Democrats, whether it be the Greens, whether it be a new party, whatever, you can guarantee it's going to be incrementalism or lunacy, some weirdo lunacy that somebody just in their mind thought, wouldn't it be great if? Has no basis in any kind of knowledge about economics or anything like that. Just like, wouldn't that be cool? No, it wouldn't be cool. What would be cool is if we actually saved lives. So for me, as we look forward as to what we do going forward, I don't care about the conspiracies. I don't care about any of that stuff. I care about all of us banding together in truth. Banding together in truth and making any one of these parties earn the right to take us to bed. Not just go to bed because we got them tipsy, drunk, whatever. I mean, I'm talking about making them woo us, make them prove their worth, make them prove that they are worthy of our help. Because the fact of the matter is, I won't allow a party to suck me in that's full of shit. Now, I'll vote for whoever I damn well please. Whoever I damn well please. Whoever I think is actually going to do the right thing. And by right thing, that doesn't mean party. That means who is going to do the right thing? Who actually understands modern monetary theory? Who actually is going to push for these new deals and know how to deliver it, not just say they're going to deliver it? Who has enough chutzpah to go out there and tell the truth in front of a camera and not sit there and tap dance because of politics, which is the theme of tonight's talk, which is the problem with politics, which is we end up saying things, doing things, whatever, all in the name of getting along with our party and not living in truth. And for us as folks inside the duopoly and outside the duopoly, it's time for us as human beings, as the 99%, to band together in truth, not in ideology, as I said last night, but to band in truth and make them all of them, desperate for our support. Pull back. Don't let them friggin' just have you. Play hard to get a little bit, for God's sake. Because none of them, right now, have any of our best interests at heart. None of them do. And I say this with all I say this with love in my heart. The new parties are trying to get followers. They're trying to get people. They're trying to bring people in. They can't really do a lot for you yet. They're trying to bring you in. Make them explain to you why you should join them. If they don't understand economics, ask how they're going to implement any of their plans. And then stroke your beard very, very casually like this as they tiptoe around the words that they don't understand. And for the establishment parties, do the same. Say, how are you going to make this happen? And why are you thinking so small? Why are you limiting our ability to do things by putting these stupid means tests on these things when we could have citizens' benefits? What is the aversion to having citizens' benefits? You know, the difference between Bernie and Hillary, besides a million things, okay, one of the biggest ones, Bernie came out the box, a true democratic socialist, saying, I want citizens' benefits. Not me, well, you know, if you had a hard life, I'm going to give you this. And for those of you who didn't have a hard life, I'm going to make you suffer. He didn't do that. It was like all Americans, health care should be a right. All Americans, college should be a right. It doesn't matter how much your parents made. It doesn't matter about that. All Americans should have access to college. Free college at that. And you look over at Jill, and she says, I want to get rid of student debt. What a wonderful idea. Jill, we can help you with that. You don't have the plan right, but you got the right ideas. We can help that. This is what we need to be pushing for. Not what party are you a part of? Because you know what? All parties aren't created equal. And if the Green Party really wants to become the home for progressives, they're going to get rid of the conspiracy-laden AMI. They're going to embrace macroeconomic reality and MMT. And they're going to welcome people in because they'll know how to deliver their programs without any problem at all. As far as the Democrats go, they're a lost cause in my book. But they're in charge. So that means you got to keep an eye on them, whether you want to or not, because we have to know when to push the buttons. I believe a lot of this is theater. I'm not even going to lie. I believe a lot of the duopoly is theater. I believe there's a lot of bullshit going on that they do in front of the camera to make us feel like they've got our back or they're fighting. And I believe behind the camera, they're really not doing much of anything other than, yeah, well, in that closed door session and that call that we had, yeah, whatever. Okay, I'm not going to lie. I believe that. I really do. I really believe politics is theater. But I believe that us folks on the outside, we're not living in a theatrical world. We're fighting tooth and nail for our very existence. And so it's important to keep an eye on them. So I don't buy into the whole burn it down strategy. I think that's almost like my 3-year-old or my 5-year-old getting really angry and throwing all their toys down and snapping the head of their Barbie or G.I. Joe off. I mean, that's kind of what it feels like. And I don't really have a whole lot in common with people like that, to be honest with you. I really don't. I'm all about solutions. That's not a solution to me. Okay? So I'm about this in between the ears. You know, I want to have a cerebral freaking revolution, one that actually is successful. And so while I don't agree with Bernie Sanders' idea, and I definitely don't side in any way, shape, or form with the Justice Democrats trying to do the same thing, I understand what they're doing. My focus is over here, to build something outside the party. That's why I support Draft Bernie. That's why I support PIP. That's why I support the Greens, okay? I don't support the LOL Libertarians because I feel that they're every bit as evil as Republicans and then some more, okay? There's nothing more fascist than libertarianism. There's nothing more ruthless than libertarianism. There's nothing more I want less than libertarianism, okay? And all this Bitcoin, this and that and the other, and all the other horse shit, the Dungeons and Dragons of politics. I got no interest in that either. Got zero interest in that. So what I'm looking for, just myself, is I'm looking for areas to educate people. I don't care if it's Republicans. I don't care if it's Libertarians. I don't care if it's Democrats. I don't care if it's Greens. Anyone that will listen to truth, I'm going to speak directly to. Anyone that will give me the time of day to listen to me talk about economics, I'm going to give them my time. Because it's that important, because you can't have anything done if we're living in the lie that we're constrained by debt and deficits. If you believe that somehow or another money grows on rich people, we're never getting anywhere. If you don't realize that a state-based monetary system like the United States has means that the United States government is the creator of the creator of the dollar, well, then we've got more problems, right? These are the lies and myths and crap that we've got to overcome to ever get any of the things that we want. We've got to stop these myth tellers from infiltrating and stopping people from living and surviving. Because their bullshit literally kneecaps everybody that is struggling and trying to live. I don't know if you realize just how serious I am. The establishment is really, really bad. It's horrible. But our revolutionaries, if you will, have bought into, the list of lies and idiocy that they bought into is ridiculous. The United States government is bankrupt since 1934 because it's not on the gold standard. This is the stupidity that exists in our movement. These people exist in the world. I'm not joking. It's not like a fairy tale. That's how dumb some of the people in our country are. And so this is the stuff that we as people trying to make change have to educate out of them. We have to educate that stuff. And we've got time. That's the thing. Before the next election, we've got to bring to light a lot of evils. We've got to bring to light a lot of truth. And we've got to do it collectively. Yeah. I want to see us succeed. I want to see us succeed. And it's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of angles to pull them out to make it happen. The object here is not one person, be it Bernie or Nina or Tulsi or this or that or Jill or David Cobb or Calvin Priest or Shama Swan or any of them. It's going to really require an ideological understanding. Do you realize, this is no joke, do you realize that some on the left are like, I won't do anything with this because it props up capitalism. So I refuse to do anything. So in the grand scheme of things, in that box of people that are doing shit, they are outside the box doing nothing. They're just, I'm angry and I'm done. I'm stomping my foot. I'm not participating. And it's not about participating, it's about participating in educating one another. It's about participating in each one teach one. Because it's not the system that we're trying to suck into. We're trying to create an externality that places pressure on the system to allow for us to have a chance at governing. So I hope folks wake up and realize that today, now, right now, the question is not what do we do, what party do we go to, who are we going to support, what are we going to do? The issue is making sure that we keep the platform alive, that we keep the issues alive, that we teach people how to make these things happen. And that way, when the next person bubbles up, we hold them to the fire. We don't idolize them. We don't freaking make them a god. We don't go, don't bash so-and-so. Because that's weak sauce, right? That's really kind of a sign of a loser, right? How many people have seen somebody say, don't bash Bernie, don't bash Tulsi, don't bash Jill? How many of you have seen people do that? Doesn't it make you queasy inside to think that these people exist? Doesn't it bother you that people don't let you fight against politicians? Politicians are public servants. I'm fighting for the issues. I'm not fighting for a politician. Even if I like that politician, I'm fighting for the issues. And if they stray from the issues, I'm going to be there to call them out for it. This whole don't bash somebody, seriously, that's really, really, really the kind of stuff that like 3- and 5-year-olds do with their lollipop in their mouth, running up to the teacher on the playground. He said my hair looks funny. Don't bash my hair. Guys, this is going to be a tough slog. It's going to be hard as fuck to make this thing happen. There, I did it again. I think I've dropped 3 F-bombs now. It's going to be difficult. And it's going to require each one of us to stay engaged and not allow these petty, petty, petty things to get in our way. I'm telling you right now, who cares if we all unite in some new party and they're sitting there peddling this stuff about ending the fractional reserve system when there isn't even a fractional reserve system? Do you want to be led by people that believe in myths and legends and are going to try and get us sidetracked solving problems that don't exist? Not me. I want to be led by people that actually know what the hell they're saying. And when you tell me you're going to end the fractional reserve system, my red light beacon goes off, goes, dummy, 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 dummy. And that, for me, my friends, tells me I don't want to be distracted. I want to save lives. And if you're telling me these things, myths and legends, and you believe them, worse yet, how in the world can we make progress? So the tasks at hand, each one teach one. Keep the pressure up on what the New Deal was and is and will be. And don't let these issues fall out of sight. Don't make it require a whole new thing to bring them back to the forefront. Keep them front and center, what we demand. Our demands. Student debt elimination, jubilee. Medicare for all, including dental and vision. Free college for all. Green energy now. Folks, the list goes on and on and on. A federal job guarantee to eradicate involuntary unemployment forever and to make sure that people lead lives that are full of dignity with a full benefits package, including paid family and medical leave, etc. This is the level at which we must demand our government serve our needs. Because if you don't keep it up here, they're going to come back in here and say, well, we can raise the minimum wage 15 cents. We can up it to, $15 an hour. $15 an hour, folks. Remember this thing? The water's up to here now. All of a sudden we lower the water down to here so you can see over it, but you're still drowning. Who cares if you're drowning? You're dead. You're dead. Oh, well, we lowered it. We made it better. We made it better. Folks, a living wage with living benefits, community service within the public purpose through a federal job guarantee. Why is this remotely controversial? This should sell well to Republicans, should sell well to Greens who don't want you working for the man who wants to serve the local communities. And even the Dems, even though they're wealthy and they're riding around in their limos and stuff, even they could get behind this, right? I mean, you talk about something that'll cut crime way down, there you go. So with that, Mike Sionato and Zach Haller will be coming on here shortly. Look forward to hearing their live stream. I hope you got something from this. I'm going to continue pounding on this New Deal and how to make it happen, folks, so that when that next batch comes in, we're not starting from scratch. I'm Steve Grumbine with Real Progressives. Have a great night, everyone.